What up? Hey, it's your boy Bernard Hines, aka the Life Therapist, and welcome to the PTSD Processing Traumatic Situation Differently podcast. Here we try to inform, enlighten, and become advocates for one another as we learn more productive ways to process our trauma. Always remember, as a therapist, I'm not licensed, I'm just medicated. Welcome to the stigma-free zone. What up, everybody? It's your boy Bernard Hines. Thank y'all for being here today. Happy New Year, starting the new year off right. I have a good friend of mine, Mr. Jerry Creekmore, better known as JAP Unified. JAP Unified. He's a military veteran. So right now, y'all, we're going to bring him onto the stage. What up there, Jerry? What up, sir?
What's
How
up,
you
my
doing?
man? What's up, my man? So good to be here
Man,
finally.
man good. Yeah, a little technical difficulty, but they ain't never stopped nothing. They ain't never
I didn't
stopped
break
nothing.
anything.
There you go. There
I
you
didn't
go.
break anything. So the
Okay.
medication is working.
Because usually we get frustrated quick.
Oh, I've been over with.
Oh, man, we get frustrated quick. So tell the
Yeah.
people a little bit about you, brother.
Hey, I don't know where to begin. To our grade school picture back in second and third grade,
Yep.
or the time we left, both of us left the military at the same time. So we both left home about 86, 87.
Yep. You remember graduation night? We were driving to the graduation, and we all was in the car, and when we got to the light, we all jumped out and ran around the car. Whoever got to the driver's seat took off
Everybody
driving.
did it. People
Yeah,
thought
we
we
was
were
crazy.
nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, we was crazy. We was crazy.
Um,
But you a military veteran, correct?
Absolutely. Spent 28 years, 9 months, 3 days, and let me see, 40 something, 48 seconds.
All
Something
right,
like
count
that.
it down. God
Yes,
dang,
indeed.
28 days in the army, 28 years in the army.
Yeah. Yeah.
Woo, man. So I know you saw some good, as they say, some good stuff over there.
Saw a lot of good stuff, man. And it helped me out once I had time to remove myself from that to realize a lot of things about myself.
Correct.
And one thing, like you said about you're not a licensed therapist, but you're medicated. I always say, I don't know what anybody needs. And if I did know, I don't have the authority to give it to them.
Ah,
Because I'm still working on me and I'm not a
correct.
professional as well. I'm just giving you my point of view. So
Correct.
yeah.
But I just want you to know, as you working on yourself, you still got stuff that people need. Okay.
Yes.
You still got stuff that people need. We never want to get to a point we feel like, you know what, man, I don't got nothing to give because no, we all are processing, we all are peers, we all can help one another because you have an awesome company or awesome program that you have and you are helping, correct?
We do our best. Actually, we had our food distribution today with Mission Field Ministry here
Okay.
in Fayetteville. We're in North Carolina. So my last food station was 82nd in
God.
2016. I finally got out. I had to make sure that we had things in line. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the other talking points that I do, along with the PTSD, is when we get out the military retirement is not enough.
Okay.
So if you don't plan ahead, it won't be enough.
Correct.
And just so happened, luckily for me, I ran into a gentleman back in 88.
Wow.
He asked me if I was doing okay with where I was. I just promoted to E4, which is
Uh-huh.
a specialist. And he asked me, was I okay? And I said, yeah. And he said, then live that way. And I
Mm.
thought about it and I said, okay, so for the next 20 years, I lived off my E5 pay.
Okay.
And
Wow.
the rest I put away. So when we did get out, my military retirement wasn't enough for me because I had been planning since 89.
So you really took on the thing of all raises and everything else goes to my retirement.
I had to because I couldn't go back home where we came from.
Yeah.
So I had to.
Wow.
But when he told me that, because I wasn't the best soldier when I started and I was doing
Right.
some things, and he told me, he said, I see you trying to go back home. And I said, no, not really. He said, well, you act like it.
Mm.
So when I penny four, he took me on his wing and asked me, was I living okay? And I said, yeah, we had just got married a year before. And I lived off that.
Okay.
In the process, Pam and I have been together since that time.
Okay.
We have two boys, 33 and 29.
Mm-hmm.
And between the 13 duty stations, they've been around the world. They both spoke a couple of languages. And it's just been a blessing to get to this point to retire and to be able to help the community. Because
Right.
you just said about having something to say and saying it,
Mm-hmm.
Everybody don't believe in that.
Correct.
And I didn't when I first got out, because I
Okay.
always asked myself the question, why was I still here?
Wow. Listen, y'all, first of all, before we even get deep into this, we're gonna be talking about some things that you might feel triggered, you might, feel a little a way about it. We ask that you just step away, regroup, and either come back or pick it up on the later time. So explain to us what you mean about that, Jerry.
Well, of course, after 28 plus years, you've seen a lot.
Correct.
I had 13 different deployments or
What?
operations.
Right. 13.
So every 24 months, 18 months,
Yeah.
my family was moving.
Correct.
But they were moving sometime without me.
Okay.
So why I say when you don't feel that place that you're worthy of it is when I got out. When I finally got out, I felt that was the first time in 20 plus years that I had felt like I couldn't do anything about my situation. And our last deployment in 82nd, we had a mission where the whole brigade itself, we had lost about 28 people, almost 36 within a 6 months time period.
Wow.
And I was 45. I was 40 something. And everybody around me was 18, 19, 20.
Correct. Okay.
And I lived a full life. I lived a full life why I even joined.
Correct.
So go through all of that to say I'm still here and this 19-year-old isn't.
Right.
I couldn't wrap my head around that.
Because survivor's guilt.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
think I was way past that.
Okay.
I think I was way past that because I didn't want to move. I didn't want to move. And when you get to the retirement place, you become the senior leader. And if you know some of the people who were injured in combat, the parents want to talk to you.
Yep.
And when they want to talk to you, there's no way you want them to see in their mind what you may have seen or heard. So you tell them what were you told in this whatever situation? What did the liaison tell you? What did the chaplain tell you? What you can live with that.
Right.
Right. Live with that on your heart because you really don't want what's on my heart to be on yours.
Wow. And you know what though? A lot of time the soldier has told their family about their leader, about their chief, about their sarge, about their first sergeant. You know what I'm saying? It went for first sergeant, we were, first sergeant. So the family gravitates to, wow, you was the one that really, that my soldier, my family talked about all the time.
Right.
But how did you balance that with coming back from the military to war, marriage wise, family wise?
You ask me right now?
Yeah, I mean, when you first came back.
For real, right now.
Yeah, no. When you first came back.
Because I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't until I got out.
Okay.
I didn't until I got out because there's a certain switch you have to have. And believe it or not, I liked who I was.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can get with that.
When I say I like, I was that guy that sometimes people would cross the street when they see me coming.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was that guy where at one point, my 13-year-old son wouldn't talk to me. And that's a hard pill to swallow when your child, especially a young man, is trying to grow into manhood and he can't talk to his dad because he was terrified. And we had that conversation. And when he told me that, it broke my heart for a minute. And I had to sit back and say, my life is meaningful in the wrong area.
Oh.
Because I cared about everything else before them. That's when I started dealing with it.
Okay.
But I dealt with it towards him. I didn't deal with it in my relationship because I liked who I was.
Okay. And that's legit.
That day I saw myself in the mirror and I didn't like what I saw.
Okay.
I started fixing stuff.
Right.
That's why I'm doing this now.
I mean, see, because the thing about it is we have to, when we go on these deployments, we have to switch our emotions. We can't be you know, say we can't worry about what's going back home at home. We can't have, you know, are they having a bad day? We can't do that. We have to focus one way. So as you said, switching that switch, that's kind of hard sometimes.
Yeah, and I didn't have it because I didn't care.
Okay.
And I will ask you this question. I will ask you this question. When things happen on a deployment and you happen to have a chance to call home and they live in life like nothing has happened
Yeah.
because nothing did happen.
Happen. Correct.
Their life is what's going on there. Your life is there.
Was,
But when something happened, you expect them to feel what you're feeling.
mm-hmm.
But like a death in the family. You get a
Mm-hmm.
death call, say you've been in Walmart walking around saying someone in your family just passed, but everybody else just walking past you, just cheerfully going. And you looking
That's a
at them
good,
like,
that's a good
why are you
analogy.
looking at me like this? But they don't know what happened.
That's a good analogy.
And it didn't happen in their life.
Mm-hmm.
But you hate people for that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it's so easy to have a bad day when you deployed to hate everybody who's back home.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I didn't get over that. It took me a long time, but I would tell you this, to be honest. When I really hit that switch and I didn't like who I saw, I because I wasn't on Facebook or any kind of social media until 3 years ago.
Okay.
But part of my therapy was the challenge was to get on Facebook or some kind of social media and do my daily habits for a week. And I've been doing them ever since.
Mm-hmm.
But when I first hit that wall that I had to change, I sat in my little prayer closet I have, and I was going through paperwork that I had. I went through and I found every phone roster that I ever had.
Okay.
Like, you say you OCD, so I'm OCD and PTSD. So I see what you and Trish go through, but it's all wrapped up in my head.
My head. Okay.
So
Great.
I got both of them. But I found my alert rosters or callback rosters, and I call people.
Wow.
Some numbers had changed,
Mm-hmm.
some numbers hadn't changed. Some people answered, some people didn't forgive me, some people did. But I called everybody that I could, and I apologized.
That's
Because
powerful.
I treated the military like it was mine.
Okay.
And just like I went in for a reason, they did.
Mm-hmm.
But I had the authority to somebody who came in with four kids, trying to make things better. They make a mistake, and I had the authority to send them home.
Okay.
Because you couldn't do what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I used it. And I couldn't live with that. Even people, and I'm using the rosters as part of my journey.
Okay.
But even the people back home, I was finding people on Facebook to be friend, to apologize, to say some things.
Wow.
Because if you don't know, you got PTSD, correct?
Correct.
Who has PTSD because of you?
Correct. My kids, my ex, my wife. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
And I had to think about that. I'm not the only one struggling. Go ahead.
Correct. Because when you do have PTSD and people are around you, what I've learned from my therapist, some of that they can pick up some of that from you, because now their world is chaotic too, because yours is chaotic and they're living with you. That's just like a person whose father was in the Vietnam War and that person comes home. That person who's living with that Vietnam veteran gonna get some residue of that.
Yes, but okay, think about how we grew up. Think about the friends we had.
Mm-hmm.
The people that we touched and impact back then. It wasn't always positive.
Correct.
That person could be going through PTSD because of us back then.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah.
And see, and so that's one of the things I was trying to grow up as well. Everything that I do now, when, say for example, if Pam and I get upset with each other,
mm-hmm.
and I get mad at her, the first thing I do is I look and say, when was the first time that I feel this way?
Okay.
And when I realized that the first time I felt this way in this conversation was the first time I saw my parents fight. So in our fight, I'm an emotional 5-year-old. I'm not even 50.
Come on, dog.
I'm not even 50. So I'm 50 years old talking to my wife, but I'm 5, and that's how I'm reacting. Well, so when I started finding the grassroots of reasons why I was the way that I was, I found out when I first felt this way and how am I responding to the situation. because what she just said wasn't that bad.
Correct.
But I'm 5.
Boy.
I'm not 50. I'm not your husband of this many years. I'm 5 years old. And I was damaging myself and I was damaging my life till I started reevaluating things in that manner.
Man, that's good. Listen, y'all, we talking to Mr. Jerry Creekmore, 28-year Army veteran, my homeboy from elementary school and swing
Absolutely.
on the swings, the monkey balls, kickball, all that, for us to go to war, go to the military, like what, couple of months apart from each other.
Yeah. We passed each other a few times.
Correct.
Parents knew each other.
Yep.
My mom knows your mom. Yeah. It's just, yeah.
So how did it feel coming back home? Like, okay, so like after you were retired, you come back home, and when did people notice a difference in you back home here in Norfolk, Virginia? Let me say this, because people thought I was supposed to, when I came back, I was supposed to be the same. You know what I'm saying? I was supposed to be the same laughing person all the time, but I wasn't mentally there yet. And I was trying to explain that.
Doesn't matter.
Explain what you mean. Doesn't matter.
You said, how did they see you? And that because you're supposed to be in the same. And I asked, does it matter?
Well,
this is why I asked, does it matter?
Okay.
When Jesus went back home to Nazareth, what happened? They only saw him as a carpenter's son.
Correct.
No matter how much success we had in our other careers, they only saw us as the kids we were.
There you go. Correct.
So no matter what we did, even though we might have had a little more money in our pocket, they may have wanted a piece of that, but we were still that guy that went to Perkins store and took a piece of bubble gum out and didn't pay for it and ran. We still that kid to them.
Right.
And good. Like you said about what you're doing now was what makes me so happy to see what you're doing, because it's helpful to me to see it. What you're doing on live, I have published 2 books.
Correct.
And I said some of the same things you're saying now. And this is why, when you say it's important, way after we're gone, the books and your podcast will always be out there.
Correct.
So somebody can pick it up.
Correct.
So your legacy and what you're building is something great. But yeah, how they felt about me back home is exactly what you're going through right now. But the question is, doesn't matter, because you could have gave back home and dropped $1 million. You're still the kid that.
Correct.
And that's all they will ever see.
You're right. That's good.
That's all good. The proceeds from my book, I gave back to the View.
Right. To Northview High School.
We didn't keep any of the money. Pam and I didn't keep any of the money. We gave the money to the View because I wanted to make sure that when it got published, the kids that just got sent home from COVID, a lot of people didn't have the computers. They didn't have internet service. So I wanted to at least get the seniors in a place where they can have something to graduate.
Okay.
That's why when I called you a couple of years ago and I got all of the fellas together.
Correct.
And I wanted to do a call to say, okay, let's raise some money to make sure these kids are taken care of, at least the senior class. And with that conversation that we had that particular time, we end up getting class jackets for that whole senior football team class.
Wow.
Yep.
So in that, you doing a lot of great things with your organization. So tell us a little bit about your organization, and we're going to get back to your books too.
So with the organization, Pam and I, JMP Unified, as we were trying to figure out what we wanted to do after we retired, we went to a group because she told me one day, we can't do this. Because I got to the point I didn't want to take my medicine because it was I was taking 14 different pills, 15 different pills. And I wasn't feeling like me. And she said, well, you stop taking the medicine, I'm out. So I went to this thing called Restore the Foundation in Philadelphia. Some group of people we knew that helps us get to the root of things that was bothering us.
Okay.
I was already going to therapy. I got into a couple of incidents in therapy, so I couldn't go back to group for a minute. I had to go to individual that would let me come back. I was just still in that mentality.
Okay.
But we went to that Restore the Foundation, and I wanted to figure out a way to bring that closer.
Okay.
So got with a couple of guys, they out of Colorado, and they helped build a program. And I don't want to keep dropping names because I don't want to push any costs or anything like that. But
Oh,
we came here and built this thing, and it was for couples. We did
okay.
a couples retreat. We started using this campground out here. We started using that couples retreat and singles retreat for men, single retreat for women.
Okay.
And then we just finished a youth retreat with one of my brothers in the fraternity of Phi Beta Sigma. We took some youth out to the campsite and we spent 72 hours unplugged. Some of them said they had never been
Woo.
without their phones since they were 10 years old, but no TVs, no phones, inner city kids. They didn't have to pay for it. The parents didn't have to do anything but drop them off. And we took them through different life-saving tips.
Wow.
First aid, archery, hatchet throwing, anything that they wasn't doing in the bricks.
Correct.
Because you can play basketball or whatever, football anywhere.
Anywhere.
In bricks, you can do that. To learn archery, how to hunt ducks with life-saving skills. That's what we did.
Nature.
Yeah. But
That's...
we started that because of our relationship, and I wanted to make sure that because I couldn't tell you the first reason why she stayed with me, first of all.
Okay.
Because I was nuts, and I admitted that.
Mm-hmm.
But she did. And now I got to work on me.
Right.
And now after working on me, how can I help someone else who's afraid to say the things that you should be saying? Men don't cry. Men don't do this. No, bro, we cry.
We
You might
cry.
not see it, but yeah. And I admitted to her that I was wrong. She said, I'm going to fix this. And that's what I've been doing ever since. So we've been doing that for 4 years.
That's good.
We work with Mission Field Ministry. We feed the community Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 o'clock every week for the last 3 years.
Okay.
On the third Saturday, we put together, I think Pastor Mathis, Mission Fields, we feed about 150 families.
And where's this located at?
In Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Fayetteville.
Mission Field, Mission Field Ministry. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good, man. Hey, but you know what I'm saying? You're doing a great work. So I know you said earlier when you first came on, you're like, you don't have it. You felt like you didn't have anything. You are giving back more than you know. You are giving from the well. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, I know how I used to be. I don't want to be remembered for this is me. I just said I didn't want to be remembered from coming from the war and acting this way. I want to be remembered for something positive. And that's what you're doing. We went, we did our time, we did what we had to do. We came back with trauma, stuff like that, but we working through it daily. And as with anybody, I applaud you for that because you train, you know what I'm saying? You're doing the work, as you say.
I had to be intentional about it. You're right. And every morning I wake up, I'm intentional. Even I can wake up in a bad place. I got a little hula hoop that I have up here.
Okay.
And I get up every morning, I sit in it. And I understand to myself that I can only control what's in my hula hoop. My wife's not in my hula hoop. My bill's not in my hula hoop. It's just me. Something in my hula hoop. And that's all I can do is control that. And all that buffer stuff that be hitting my hula hoop, I can only try to work it once I get out. When the real work, I can only do that. But my hula hoop don't fit her. So her problems can't be mine. We can work together and fix some stuff. My problems can be hers. She got her own hula hoop. Just like, for example, our military career. Soldiers think that we carry a 75-pound ruck, and guess what? I'm the only one carrying a ruck. Well, the spouse back home is carrying a ruck
too. Carrying a ruck too.
It's just not yours, but they still have one.
Correct.
But if you take all the garbage out that you don't need and put all of the good stuff from both of yours in one, you can hold it with a handle instead of packing it on your back. And your life will be so much greater when you're working together like that.
Wow. So you as a black man, you as a man that came from where I came from, you as a man that was seen as a strong man, you said you went to therapy?
I was on therapy right for your phone call.
You said you went to listen, this is another brother that's breaking the stigma of seeking help. We We're gonna break this stigma.
Absolutely.
That's right. That's right. This stigma needs to be broken. And I say that, kind of funny, like, because it's like, you say you did 28 years, you did these deployments, you jumped out of airplanes, but you went and talked to somebody. Yeah, when you feel like you ain't right. But the key thing you told me, Jerry, that I appreciate you saying, because I was in that in one way too. I felt like ain't nothing wrong with me. I felt like something wrong with y'all. Y'all need to adjust to me.
Oh, yeah. But see, that was
Y'all,
the ego.
that was the ego. That's right.
That was the
Y'all need to
ego.
adjust to me.
Yeah.
You're right.
Even now, when I have
Okay.
my group therapy, because I'm back in group now. But when I
Okay.
go in there, I talk to the doc one-on-one, and I ask him, because some of them not on medication.
Mhm.
And then people real world. And I say, someday I just don't want to take my medication, because if I got to deal with them in the everyday, why don't I have to deal with the real me?
Mm.
And it blew me away. Pam took me, she was taking me to Red Lobster somewhere like that for my birthday. And she had never seen me flip before.
Okay.
She had never seen me flip out before. And I was backing into this parking space, and this lady was backing out of a parking spot. She almost hit me. So I blew the horn to tell her, hey, I'm back here.
Mm-hmm.
She cursed me out.
It's just something about that curse.
She cursed me out. Like, don't you blow your bleep, bleep, bleep horn at me, and this right here. And I didn't say anything, right? But she's on Pam's side of the car. This would trigger me. Pam is in the danger zone for me.
Okay.
Because she's backing up on Pam's side. I'm way over here.
Okay.
And she said, don't you blow. And before I knew it, I wasn't even in the car anymore. I was in this lady's window. And I looked beside her was her elderly mother. And that's what snapped me back. And I'm like, you. And I looked at her mom. Her mom was like, she was terrified. And I looked back and Pam was terrified. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Pam and I left, and we went, I think we drove to my therapist after that.
Mm.
We left and drove to my therapist because I wasn't right. And I'm saying, if why you don't know people,
Mm-hmm.
and why are you messing with people? I don't mess with anybody.
Right.
Why are you messing with somebody, especially with your mother in the car?
Right.
And I said, all she saw was this black guy about to lose it.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't see where I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh man.
Then the police come, it gets escalated because now you still got this. Yeah. 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 It's rough. Yeah.
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 And I wasn't in a place. But we went to my therapist after that, and luckily she was coming out of a meeting, and she saw Pam and I that day outside of her office. Actually, met us in the parking lot, and we talked for a little while. The reason why I do this, how you're saying it right now, is because I think that every time one of us in this season of life pass away, a library closed for everybody else. So everything that's up here will be gone when we're gone.
Okay.
If we don't share it.
Right.
It's too much up here for both of us not to share and to leave this world and not give it back.
That's right.
The old guys in the barbershop, I remember sitting in the corner of over about Tiny John, and I heard that in the old guy, you sit there and just give us wisdom. We didn't listen,
yeah,
but they did.
Right.
This is our version of that right now. And I said, man, before those guys passed, they left so much here that we had in our kickback that we're using it now.
Mm-hmm. That's
and
right.
I'm saying, before we pass, we need to pass some of this stuff on, because. But every time one of us pass, a lot of it's gone.
That's some good knowledge right there. Some good knowledge. Look, we ain't got that much time left. We got about 8 more minutes.
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about your books.
So, like I told you, like you're doing what you're doing, I was journaling every day. And I had this idea at the end of seeing these binders that I had.
Okay.
And I was going to write a book. But I said, I'm not going to write a book that's 300 pages long because no one would want to read it.
That's
I
right.
broke it down into a 3-book series, a 4-book
Okay.
series. So I'm working on 2 and 3 and 4 right now, but I published 1 and 2, and I was letting it sit. It was number 3. The first one was number 3 on the bestsellers list for about 3 weeks.
Okay.
And that one was All Slaves Are Meant to Be Free. That was the first book, All Slaves Are Meant to Be Free. And I was thinking about that and everything that we went through in life. We was choosing to be slaves to something.
Mm-hmm.
All slaves are meant to be free. But we became slaves to the 1st and the 15th because that's when the army paid us.
That's when they paid us.
Military people got enslaved to the 1st and the 15th, but we got paid 3 days prior. So you was getting paid on the 12th.
That's right.
And the first time you got paid on the 1st, you was hurting because you didn't get your money 3 days early.
That's right.
We got into that mindset that we were enslaved to that. I was enslaved to eating these things that I'm eating now. And I realized that I was eating, I would wake up in the morning, kid you not, chewing Reese's cups. Because I would have a couple of them by my bedside.
Okay.
And I'll wake up and put one in my mouth, go back to sleep and eat. And that works until you retire. So I went from 185 when I retired to 240 because I was still eating, but I wasn't running every day.
Wow.
But I was enslaved to that.
That's good.
I was enslaved to my eating habits. I was enslaved to how I was treating my son.
Okay.
I was enslaved on how I treated my spouse.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say that I don't understand, well, I do now, why she was still there. Because to me moving forward, me going to the schools and me being elite was the only thing in my mind.
Correct.
Even though I thought I was doing it for, I kept telling myself I was doing it for the family.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't. I'm honest. I was doing it for the glory.
Oh, wow.
I was doing it for the, I can say right now, when I penned E7 in 10 years. On my MOS, that wasn't normal.
You was fast tracking.
I was fast tracking, but I was doing those things that everybody didn't want to do, and I was doing them, and it put me in a place. And I kept saying, I got you this. I got promoted. Now you can have this. I was doing this for me.
Okay.
And I know that.
That's
I know
good.
that because how my chest felt when I get up in the morning to walk around with all my badges and stuff on, how I felt. I knew right then I wasn't doing it for them.
That's good.
It was for the status. And I will tell you the downfall for some people. It's like we look at these NBA players and they go from college to pros in their 20 and you give them $1 million. Right?
That's right.
Okay. You say, I'm 24, I was 25 years old about to pen E7. And now I have all these people that's subservient to me.
Correct.
But I wasn't ready for that power.
Right. That's
I was not mentally ready.
Yeah, that's a good power there, though. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
So I had to learn.
Well,
and then if you think about the math problem of life,
mm-hmm.
if I fast track, think about that. I said I had those deployments, right?
Yep.
So if I've been in 10 years in May 87, I was deployed 3 times. That was a year. I was in the field a month. I had staff duty CQ. A couple days on, day off, day on, day off. I went to these schools 30 days at a time, 6 days at a time. Actually, I have 4 years of knowledge. The rest been in school. So what did I know about people?
Right. People skills. Correct.
I didn't have it because I was in school, deployed, training.
Man, listen, bro. I want to thank you for being part of this. Listen, we got 4 minutes left. I don't want this to be the quick part, but it has to be. What did your relationship with Christ play in this?
Everything.
There you go. Okay.
Everything, especially because I thought that I did it.
Correct. Okay.
I thought I fast tracked. I thought I went to these schools. I thought I survived them jumps. When I hit the ground and said, "Oh, I could walk," I thought I could, but I knew that I couldn't do all that. That's why I say I don't have the authority to give it to you because I don't. He has, and as I move forward, I understand now my survival's remorse is not as bad because he kept me here for this purpose.
Come on, brother.
That's why we're having this podcast.
That's right.
Because if I had passed away like I said I should have, and said somebody younger should be here, we wouldn't be talking right now.
Come on, bro.
So he had a purpose, and now I'm trying to walk in that purpose, bro.
Hey, you walking in it, brother. Listen, y'all, we speaking to retired. You was an E9? You retired?
E8.
Retired E8 Jerry Creekmore, my homeboy, my good friend, as we say back in the day, my cut buddy.
That's right. Yes,
Jerry,
sir.
man, it's been a pleasure. Your lovely wife, I know she's there with you, backing you. And listen, how can people find out more about your organization and what you do?
So after this over, I'm gonna send you my link, but it's JMP Unified, and like I said, we just now putting it on Facebook. And here's the big thing. So
Okay.
JMP Unified, Pam and I do the guest speaking stuff.
Okay.
My oldest son does our graphic design stuff. Our youngest son does the automation stuff.
Come on now.
It was all in the family, and this was our legacy to leave.
Come on, man.
Me, when I go home, and I said about budgeting through my service to have money for the kids, now we have funds and lanes for the grandkids and great grandkids. And the great grandkids will eat off the books and these podcasts, stuff like this for the rest of their life. So that was the purpose of all of this.
Man, you are doing it. Listen, y'all, thank y'all for tuning in, man. Thank you. Give me 1 minute of what you want to tell somebody for them to keep going.
Be intentional every day. Be intentional every day. And I would say that to take my last breath, because you understand how many breaths there are in a day. And I'm thankful for everyone I get. And I'm praying that everything that I just said is already in the future. I'm praying for my breath for tomorrow. Everything that we just said is already history.
Come on now.
Everything we just talked about is history.
Correct.
Are we going to live tomorrow and hopefully do one of these again and get in more detail and in depth, because I would love to talk to you, and I can't wait till you move forward down here, and I look forward to seeing you up here in our area as well.
Yes, sir. And we will talk more just as soon as you get your internet right.
I'm gonna get it plugged in, man. You're talking about somebody who almost threw our computer out the window. But I'm gonna get rid of this 2007 computer that my son had when he was in high school.
All right, listen, y'all. We've been talking to Mr. Jerry Creekmore from JMP Unified. Jerry, you are released from the stigma-free zone, my brother.
Love you, bro. Appreciate it.
I love you.